walking in the Spirit, and the temperament of the heart. Let's look at Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath, anger, clamour, slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Throughout Scripture, we are told repeatedly that the heart is what really matters to God. It is not that outward acts are unimportant, for the Bible also condemns external, visible sins and commends righteous external acts that are evident to the human eye in Matthew 5:16. But ultimately, however, visible deeds of love for God and neighbour are good only if they are rightly motivated and are not done merely for the approval of other people. In Ephesians 3:25-26, our Creator does not see as we see. When he looks upon the individual, he looks upon the heart. 1 Samuel 16 verse 7 tells us that furthermore, the heart is also the seat of all impurity. So consequently, external sins are finally addressed only through dealing with inward transgressions. If we want to walk in the Spirit, this is important for us to look at. If we do not set aside the sinful intentions of our hearts, then all the mortifications of sin that we perform externally has very permanent, no permanent good at all. So Paul is essentially making the point in our passage that we read today. He urges us to put away bitterness, wrath, anger, clamour, slander, and malice in verse 31. Bitterness and wrath and anger are fundamentally attitudes of the heart, while clamour and slander are the ways in which these sinful dispositions find their outlet out of our mouth. Matthew Henry comments about bitterness and wrath and anger and refers to the violent inward resentment against others, and clamour is the intemperate speech by which bitterness, rage and anger vent themselves. I think a lot of us know about this. So the apostle does not urge us to give up being angry altogether. After all, if that were his point, he would be contradicting his earlier injunction to exercise righteous anger at appropriate occasions. Remember verse 26. The kind of anger that Paul wants us to put away is characterized by malice. Verse 31. The consuming feeling of hatred that seeks out only the destruction of another person, not their restoration to fellowship with God and with other people. Malice regularly characterizes human anger. So we must keep our anger in check by the Spirit's power, according to Romans 8:5-6, as we walk in the Spirit. Slander in Ephesians 4:31 translates from a Greek word called blasphemia. It's the same word, obviously, where we get the English term blasphemy. We blaspheme the Lord when we tell falsehoods about his character and we curse God. Similarly, we blaspheme or slander other people when we curse them, spread rumours about them, lie about what they are doing and also their intentions. These acts are wholly unchristian. So putting sins of the tongue to death requires more than just cessation of slander, as important that is. More fundamentally, there needs to be a mortification, I'm going to explain that, of ungodly anger and malice so that easily dwells up within us to our shame. Whenever we feel ourselves getting angry, we should step back, ask ourselves if it's righteous anger we're experiencing. We should also have friends who can help us make this discernment so we can walk in the Spirit and enjoy the Spirit of God.